Whew. Okay. Um, I'm gonna wing this video just as I've winged literally every other video that I've made. So, I just started recording because I want to tell you something really exciting, and it's a really, really interesting thing that I've been contemplating about, and I've kind of touched on it in like previous videos, but I feel like I can say it a little more clearly now. So, one thing that I'm asking myself, and I think it's a really, really fundamental question to life, is suffering avoidable? You know? And if you think the answer is obvious, then you're wrong. Like, then you didn't understand the question properly. Like, is suffering avoidable or is it not in life? And what this means is that for you to get anywhere good in life, do you have to suffer at least a lot? Or can you just suffer little or not at all? You know, to get there. And it's a very, very hard question because, like, many things in life point towards the answer being yes, and many other things in life point towards the answer being no. Let me explain. First off, if you are to eat I've already made this. If you already watched that, just I'm going to say everything again. Forgive me, but if you eat like feces, like if you made the choice in your life to eat shit, right? And it's going to be an immense amount of suffering. Imagine how hard and painful and imagine how horrible and disgusting it must be to eat shit, right? It's like an immense amount of suffering, and you're also gonna get sick, right? So what did you get out of that? What positive thing did that suffering bring in your life? It doesn't really seem like it brings you anything, right? So if we like go by this example, the answer should be yes, suffering is avoidable. Just make the correct choices in life, and you're not going to suffer needlessly, and you're going to get whatever you want without like suffering too much at least. You're gonna go through a little bit of pain, but it's not like that big of a deal, you know? Wait, let me stop seeing myself. There you go. Wait, let me drink some water. So if we go by the eating feces example, it seems like the answer is yes. But now there's other examples. For example, getting strong at the gym. Now, literally what everyone is saying is that like people try like anyone trying to go the easy route and try to like on their diet, they I don't know, they choose a protein cake instead of like actual like healthy food or something like that. But more of a good example would be that Andrew Tate was asked once, like, what is the easy way to get a six pack? And he said, why does he responded, what why does it have to be easy? Why, like if it were easy, then it would have no value. Like if it were easy to get a six pack, then it would have no value. It wouldn't be that attractive because anyone would have had it. And it sounds perfectly clear, right? If they're like, if it were easy to get a six pack, it wouldn't have that much value. And also, Hamza Ahmed, the king of self improvement himself, said that your biggest obstacle to making gains at the gym is how hard you're pushing yourself and how much pain you're going through. And if you try in any way to like reduce the pain you're going through at the gym, you're not gonna make gains. That's what he said. Anyone trying to avoid it, there's nowhere to go. So, and we all know that there is a reason why people don't do steroids, right? I don't really know what the reason is precisely, but there has to be like a lot of disadvantages. And I think you can agree with me that even if it were technically possible to become muscular in a healthy way, and without ever going to the gym or ever getting through any pain to get there, right? Uh, like I think you can like see that there would be a problem with that. Like someone that has just made muscle magically without ever going to the gym, without ever training, and they look amazing. Just a hypothetical example. I'm not saying that it's possible or anything, but uh, I think they would be missing like something related to the mind because the suffering you go into through the gym and getting punched in the face at martial arts and all of that makes you tougher mentally, right? So it's like a reward to the suffering, right? So if you look at life this way through these examples, it seems like the answer is no. But at the same time, you're not forgetting the other example with the eating feces stuff, right? The answer hinting to yes. So which is it? Is it yes or no? Is suffering avoidable or is it not? And I've kind of contemplated about this, and I have my own answer that right now I'm believing in because I feel like it's the most reasonable answer, and um, because like you might be thinking right now, if you didn't really pay attention to the question properly, you might have an answer in your mind that, well, you just have to suffer the correct things, and that will get you reward, and you don't suffer the incorrect stuff. Like for example, you have to suffer by using your head. Like you have to suffer in the things that are intelligent to suffering, like the things that actually bring you something from suffering. So suffer through only the things that are like logically going to bring you something out of it, right? That's what you think, right? But the problem with that is that that's literally the answer, that suffering is avoidable. Like you answering that, you actually responded yes. Because if you say that there are things that you should suffer and things that you shouldn't, then God knows, like, that opens up the possibility for a whole new bag of snakes. How do you know whether like the suffering you're going through is worth it anymore? What if like there would be a way to dodge that? You get what I'm saying? Like if that is true, what you're saying, that eating feces is a bad choice, but going to the gym and suffering there is a good choice, then what if there's an even better decision than going at the gym? You would never know, right? And you might think, well, like if your mind is pretty closed right now, you might not quite understand what I'm trying to say, but like you genuinely never know in life. The more you study, the more you learn, the more you like seek out information and wisdom in life, the more you realize how unpredictable everything is. Like you would have never ever thought about something and it turns out to be true, like what if someone, if what you're saying is true, that you should only suffer like the correct stuff, how do you know that like one day maybe someone will come and will tell you that you only need to go 1 day per week at the gym and push yourself hard in that day, and that's it. You will get way more muscular than those that are going every day, right? Who knows? Who knows? Like if this is true, if the answer is that suffering is avoidable, then you never, that you don't, like it becomes chaotic, because it means that suffering is meaningless, that you can genuinely go through meaningless suffering that will like lead nowhere to you in your life. That's a fucking horrible thing, because suffering being meaningless means like the world is pretty fucking cold and cruel. You know what I'm saying? Like suffering needs to have a meaning to it for the world to be like, for there to be any reason to live whatsoever, you know what I'm saying? So this is bad. Suffering being avoidable is bad because it renders suffering and people's pain meaningless. And suffering being unavoidable is also bad, because even though that means suffering has a meaning, it means that you're basically on, there's no like you have to go through pain no matter what. And like in case you think you're tough, like it has to be like genuine pain, it has to be like genuine suffering. Like if you find it easy to go to the gym and push your muscles, that's not real suffering. If you find it easy to do something that other people are like feeling a lot of pain and resistance doing, that means you're not actually suffering. It has to be something that is genuinely horrible to you. So like going outside naked and running, that would be genuine suffering, maybe. It has to be something that genuinely makes you feel horrible that this is true, that this theory of suffering is unavoidable is true. If you feel good about this being true, it means you just have an ego, and you think that what you're going through is real suffering when it's actually not, and you have to go through something way more horrible and way more horrid than you would imagine for you to get where you want in life. So yeah, this is not good either. This is also cruel. Like the universe is cruel if suffering is avoidable, but the universe is also cruel if suffering is unavoidable. So, in my opinion, if a result leads to the universe being cruel, then it's kind of unnatural, because the universe tends to be consistent and a bit dignified. And it has like some consistency, some dignity to it, right? It doesn't like it like typically the like extreme cruel stuff is kind of not true, typically speaking. So there needs to be a caveat somewhere. And my answer the thing I've thought about is that after contemplating this question is that maybe like I don't know how true is this or not, but it's just what I chose to believe, and it seems to work. It seems to kind of apply, and I've never found a case where it would not be true. So my answer is suffering is avoidable, but with a caveat. Suffering is avoidable, but it doesn't mean that it's meaningless. So what this means is that for you to get from point A to point B in life, you have to go. You can go through suffering to get there, right? And that's an option. And suffering will always give you a reward, but it's still avoidable. Like you can get the same reward that you would have gotten suffering, except with wisdom and knowledge, you can skip that suffering and get that reward without suffering. So, yeah, like this makes the world a lot of a better place because it means that people that are suffering and are in pain, that there's genuinely a meaning and they're genuinely going to get somewhere, and maybe the reward will be the wisdom to avoid that suffering in the future itself, right? And on the flip side, it means that there is a nice way to like for you to like get everything you want in life without like sweating too much, right? So that's also nice. And but suffering is also not rendered meaningless, right? You're always gonna get a reward from it. So this keeps the universe in balance. This keeps the universe in kind of a like a good like consistency. You know what I'm saying? It feels kind of karmic in some way, but whatever. With my concept. And yeah, like this is my idea. So it's like suffering is avoidable with a caveat. So like so if suffering is avoidable, it's avoidable with wisdom. If you know something that you previously didn't know and you apply that something that you didn't know and you learn that from somewhere, then you can just avoid that suffering and get the reward anywhere. And that's the point of wisdom. That's why wisdom exists, and that's why wisdom was invented, right? In humanity. That's why learning exists. And you can learn from others' mistakes so you don't repeat them. You know, like that's very powerful because like it means that an ancestor, one of our ancestors can go through a lot of suffering to get a certain reward, that the reward is avoiding that suffering in the future. He can just teach it and then the other people have it. I'm gonna call this wisdom a key. You know, I think this is a really good word, a key, because it's like you can try to punch the door and fuck up your fist and like smash it with a sword and get through, or you can just have the key to the door to just clock and open it. So like the key means the way to avoid something, the way to get a reward in life without going through the suffering that you would have had to go through without the key. So this is the concept, and this is what a key means, right? So wisdom is every piece of wisdom is a key, right? It's a key meant to like get you somewhere without having to suffer through it. And yeah, there's a bit of a catch to that because many times in life you cannot actually tell very easily like if suffering is avoidable or not. Like for example, again with the gym, like if I told you that there's an easy way to get muscle and for you to, well, not me because I'm not muscular as of yet. I'm still work in progress, but like if someone told you that there's an easy way to do it and you don't like it, I think you would be pretty fishy of that individual because like it always feels like if you don't go like the Andrew Tate mindset, right? You have to go through something hard to make yourself tougher, and if you try to avoid it in any sort of way, you're always going to get punished for it in one way or another, you know? So that's a catch, you know? It's very, very hard to tell. Like you can choose to try to find an easy route, or you can just go through the suffering, and that's your choice to make, and that depends on your wisdom, your knowledge, and your intelligence, what is the right choice to make, right? So are you going to look for a key to open the door, or are you going to try to smash the door and like hurt your wrist a little bit, you know? But this opens the like this like one second, let me think. So yeah, like if you make this example like for a video game, for this to be really understandable, like so let's say you launch Terraria, or I don't know, let's say Minecraft because everyone knows Minecraft, right? Imagine someone being like a noob and not knowing jack shit about Minecraft, and they just launch it and start a world, right? And they just keep dying. They just keep dying and respawning because they don't know what to do. They try to fight the zombies with their bare arms. They don't get any wood, any nothing. They don't They don't try to beat the like they're not able to do anything, right? Because they're noobs and they don't know what to do. They don't know they have to like punch the tree. They have to mine down to get ore and shit, right? They don't know any of that. So imagine they've gone through like 12 hours of just pain, like of just respawning like 500 times, right? Um, and eventually someone who like has wisdom, will give them the wisdom of like you 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 don't need to go through all this suffering, you don't need to like die and respawn. Of course, in the real life scenario, they would just stop playing the game. But we're trying to associate with real life here. In real life, you can't just stop playing the game. You can't just close the game. I mean, people do kill themselves and try to kill themselves, but in most situations, people don't really kill themselves. They just keep going through the suffering, right? And I think, like, I don't see killing yourself as something positive or like a good idea. But yeah, we're talking about real life here, so we're assuming like quitting is impossible, right? So they're just 12 hours nonstop, just dying and respawning over 500 times probably, right? Just getting killed and respawning continuously. Not very fun, is it? It's painful. It's horrible. Yeah, it's all of the above. And eventually, a person comes and tells them, just punch trees, get wood, and go below the ground and mine for iron, then mine for diamonds, and then you're going to become powerful and you're going to be able to beat all the mobs and build all you want and have all the things you want in Minecraft, and it will be easy. And like that's wisdom, right? So basically, he just gave him the key to open the door to get somewhere where he wants without going through suffering and pain anymore. So this is like a video game example, right? Or maybe after 5 years of like 12 hours every day of going through that pain, maybe he would have noticed it anyway himself without the need of being given the key. He would have found the key himself, right? He would have realized, wait, I can just punch trees and I'm getting wood from this. Like in 3 months of suffering continuously, right? Just by random chance, right? Then he finds out that he can go below the dirt because, but like, why? If you're like a beginner, a complete noob in Minecraft, you know nothing about the game, and you start from like zero, maybe in 3 months or 4 months of playing it 12 hours a day, you kind of try everything. You try pressing all the keys on your keyboard, you try punching everything around, you try everything, and eventually you find out something, because that's where suffering brings you. You eventually find, wait, I can chop wood, and if I put this here like this, I can get a pickaxe, whatever that does, and after a year they're probably going to realize some of it themselves. But imagine like just how much pain and suffering and time wasted is saved by just one person telling them the wisdom, giving them the key right away, and telling them what to do. The pro, right? Not really the pro, because this is not really pro knowledge, but like the person that has the wisdom, right? And yeah, and now that we're talking about keys, right? A key meaning like a way to avoid suffering and get the reward you want in your life. There's this concept of the master key, which is like a key that genuinely opens all doors. So like in an RPG or something, like you just have that key and you go open any door with it, right? And apparently that exists, and it's called the master key here. Like this book contains the ultimate wisdom. It's the ultimate, like the ultimate truth, the ultimate wisdom of the universe. And with this wisdom, you can open all doors. All suffering in life is prevented, and you can get anything you want. Does this sound stupid to you? Too stupid to be true? I mean, if it does, then I'm not blaming you. It's really really hard to like take this in that this actually exists. Well, I just kind of like came up with the word key. I don't actually know where the title Master Key System comes from. Like, I don't know where Master Key System comes from, but just coincidentally, it just happened to like tune in with my concept of key, of like suffering and shit. And yeah, like I've also bought this The Power of Now book, right? Like I think these books like if you merge them, they synergize very well. Like because the first couple parts of the master key are just about like stopping your mind from controlling you, right? And the master key doesn't really go into detail about what that actually means, you know, like what it entails and the details and the nitty gritty stuff and immense rewards it actually brings. Because like in the master key, like stopping your mind from working just sounds like the sweating the small stuff, like doing something that you have to do even though you don't want to do it, and it doesn't really bring you any immediate reward. But no, according to the power of now, it's completely wrong. Like just stopping your mind on like and being in the present alone is enough to like, well, genuinely change your life, and maybe even like being maybe this is like already a master key of its own, but the master key system goes a little beyond that. It seems to like give you some laws of the universe and how to use your mind, like for it to help you, right? To use it like all its power, all its immense power, and you can just channel it onto something, right? So yeah, I sound like I know my shit about while talking about this, but really, I'm just filming this video not from a point of like a guru. I'm not a guru. I'm not a teacher. I'm not nothing. I'm just some dude that is really, really interested in this stuff. I'm not actually. I haven't actually like my life is not really that successful. Successful. My life right now just seems hopeless. But and that there's nothing that I not a big deal that I've achieved in life. I mean, according to some people, they might say that, oh wow, he speaks almost native Japanese. He speaks three languages fluently. He won against some people in competitive programming without having any teacher or sensei teaching him how to do it. Wow, I've done so much shit and I've self-taught this and self-taught that. Like some people might say that I've achieved great things, but like in general, in my opinion, it's not really that big of a deal. Like I haven't even got muscle, bro. I'm not even fucking muscular yet. So like I'm genuinely in a fucking in all like alpha and beta means something different. Like in an early stage of my life where like I'm still lost, I'm still confused, I still don't know what the fuck is going on, but and my life is going nowhere. But yeah, like I've read this completely. I've read this book completely like in the span of a couple days. And I didn't really speed through it. I actually genuinely like paused whenever I felt like pausing and tried to like um initiate this thing. So like becoming present, you know, like for me, like it was a big question. What the fuck? How do you become present? How do you just teach a fish to fly when the fish has been in water its entire life? I've been identified with my mind my entire life. And like in fact, I've been more mindless and more identified with my mind than literally everyone else. Like I think I'm one of the top 1% percentile of people that are most identified with their mind in their entire lives. I was so identified with my mind my entire life that I've genuinely like whisper on myself, and people tell me that I'm fucking insane that I whisper them. It's when my thoughts become so fucking loud and I become so immersed in them and so I powerfully identified with them that I'm genuinely like whispering like an insane person, you know. This Eckhart Tolle man says that being identified with your mind and your ego in general is insanity, but like for me it was like genuine insanity. Like it was to the point where even like a normal person would have called it insane, right? Also maladaptive daydreaming, right? Can't get more unconscious than that. It's a form of catharsis, you know, a form of like negative energy being channeled into those daydreams that just make you jump and move without being conscious, right? Crazy, right? Like if there's one person that needed this book the most, it was me. And like I feel like compared to like Medita when waking up and Sam Harris and all the other meditative teachers that I've like listened to, like I find that this book like explains stuff like the best way. I mean, explains would be the wrong word because there's nothing really being explained for the mind to understand. There's nothing to really understand. It's just kind of like instructions. It's just the instructions that you follow. So like how do you become present? How do you like how do you rise above your mind? You know, so how do you become aware of the present moment, right? And I would answer to that is like just like moving your arm. Like it's not something that is like it's something that is axiomatic. It's like asking someone how do you move your arm upward? Well, you just do this. And you're like, okay, how do I do that? And look, my arm is standing still. How do I move it up? You just do this. There's nothing to explain. You just do it, right? You just do it. Like if you think about doing it, it's already performed. That's kind of how it works. And this is what I mean by axiomatic. It's something that cannot be explained, and you just do it by thinking about doing it, and you just do it. It's just like because like it's not like, for example, how do you drink water? Well, drinking water can be explained because it's multiple steps, right? It's not axiomatic, right? You take the bottle, you put it in your hand, you twist, you move your hand this way, and then you put it on your mouth, and this is how you drink water, right? But asking someone, how do you become present? How do you stop your mind? There's no instructions. You just do it because it's one step. There's no there's no multiple steps to this. You just, okay, let me do it right now. Okay, and that didn't count because I actually started breathing for some reason a little more deeply. Okay, without any breathing, any bullshit, I'm just gonna be present, more present than before. Yeah, and I just did it. It doesn't like I'm not able to like do it for like more than a couple of seconds at a time, as any normal person that has been identified with their mind is. But apparently, you can get to this point of enlightenment where you're just genuinely like you're so under control. Your mind is so controlled by you that it just genuinely doesn't disturb you much anymore. Like they just don't get disturbed by their mind, and every action they do is not a reaction. It's like spontaneous. Like what they seek, they don't crave. You know, because like you would think that enlightened people, and this is what question that I actually had. But in the question about suffering, right? I'm actually like, this is a really really important question about life, and I've kind of come up with it, right? I didn't like find it somewhere, so this means that some other philosophers in the world should have already like kind of asked themselves this, right? So let me just Google this: is suffering avoidable? That's this question. Suffering is inevitable. Okay, fine. Um, that suffering is part of life. Yeah, but I don't feel like it's the right question. Of course, it's inevitable, but I'm like, just because it's inevitable, like you didn't really precisely say how much you have to suffer. Like it can be inevitable, but be very little in amount. Like be so little that you don't really care about it, right? I don't think I'm getting the right answers. Let me ask ChatGPT. Maybe ChatGPT knows some philosophers that talked about this. Ah, fuck. But I have to explain the question because it's ambiguous. When you ask suffering is avoidable, like, you can get misunderstood. Because, like, you, of course, yeah, suffering is unavoidable. Well, of course it's unavoidable. Because, like, you will suffer at some, but how much? You know? Like, my question is precise. It has no like measurement or not. Like it just says, if there is a way of suffering to get to a reward, is there a way around it? You know, or is it that you have to suffer to get anywhere in life and it doesn't matter? And this means like if suffering is unavoidable were true, then genuinely eating feces would make you become the most billionaire entrepreneur in the world, like just eating shit, right? But it doesn't seem to do that. But then again, there was another catch that kind of like caught me off guard. Like I realized that, like for example, cutting off your limb, right? Just losing a limb, is that gonna make you super successful and happy? Well, I was like, oh, of course not. But then wait, it always seems like people in wheelchairs and people that have some sort of are in wheelchairs or have like a terminal disease, for some reason they seem to be happier. Like, have you noticed this? Like, people in wheelchairs on average tend to be like way happier than normal people. I've always wondered why that is. Like, why? The more shit their life is, the more shit someone's life is from this perspective, the happier they are. Like, the most depressed and miserable people seem to be like those kind of like smart people that think a lot, you know, and and have all their limbs put together. And there are or maybe they're in university or something, right? These are the people that like genuinely like seem to be the most unhappy, right? But people that have no limbs, that are in wheelchairs and shit, children that are there was a child that had no legs and no arms, and he was fucking happy, non-stop smiling, non-stop happiness, bro. What the fuck? Like a little too happy, right? So that kind of got me eerie, right? Like, wait, Maybe suffering is unavoidable. Maybe they got rewarded with that piece of enlightenment and peace and happiness because they suffered beforehand. So like the suffering beforehand always like gave them a reward because they're happy afterwards. Oh my god, this is getting hairy, right? Very hairy. And I don't have the answers. I just have something to believe in. I believe in the key. I believe like that suffering is avoidable with a catch. It's avoidable, but it's not meaningless. Suffering always gets you somewhere. Like, in Terraria, or in Minecraft, like you can die a million times and then notice by yourself that you can like get stronger and get tools and shit, and eventually like maybe that will lead you to search the internet and stuff, or someone can just tell it to you and you'll have the key instantly, right? And just get over it. That's how it seems to be the most reasonable. You know what I find the most funny out of all of this? The people that say like, I don't know if I should trust this. Like you show them the master key, and they're like, yeah, but it seems kind of fishy. It seems kind of. I've read through it, but I don't really believe it. It seems a bit wishy washy. It seems a bit voodoo. I'm like, bro, like imagine like you tell someone in Minecraft, just punch the trees and go down and find ore and mine it and make armor and make tools, and that way you will be happy. That way you will not suffer anymore. You will not die continuously and fucking respawn. You will be able to build anything you want. You will be able to defeat all mobs you want. You will be able to go even in worlds you would have never thought existed, like the Nether and the overworld. You will unlock so much shit, because to you Minecraft right now is just living and walking and fucking dying nonstop and getting respawned again and again and again and again, doing nothing, right, for years. You can avoid that. You can do what I say. You can just punch the trees and just go down, right? And imagine the person that has been dying 100 times, respawning like 500 times, playing 12 hours a day for 1 year, and getting nothing done, and suffering continuously. They just tell you, I don't really trust you, man. Like, that sounds a bit fishy. What do you mean, like, tools? What do you mean wood? What do you mean punching trees? Why would I do that? Like, that sounds weird. Why would I punch tree? Why would I go down? Why would I mine ore? Like, what are you talking about? You sound voodoo and you sound a bit fishy. What would you say to him? You would probably like here's what I would say to him. I would say, you don't need to trust me. Just do it. Just seek. Just try it yourself and see what you get for yourself. Just see for yourself. You don't need to trust me. Just see for yourself. Just go down, mine the ore and see and try it and look for the recipes and try it yourself and see if it works. You don't need to trust me. You just need to try and like just see for yourself. And I think this is like a very good ability. Whenever I read something, I don't have it in my head where like try to trust. I just let the information get in my head. I just without judgment, and then I just blindly like trust. Like trust is the wrong word. Just blindly do what it says. Like it just you don't like. But like of course for the power of now, like I've always felt like a lot of tension in my chest reading it, because like my mind is like very resistant towards it, and it's just like as the author says, the ego doesn't fucking like this shit. The ego doesn't like this. The mind hates this. Everything in my mind is scared of the present moment, but I did it anyway. I'm choosing to be more present anyway. And this connects it to the master key as well. Like you use the master key, like it's kind of fishy. Reading the power of now, it sounds kind of voodoo. I don't trust this. It's the same as a person that you tell them to punch the wood and go the war down, and they will stop dying non-stop and respawning over the mobs at night. And they tell you, that doesn't sound right. That sounds a bit weird. That sounds a bit voodoo. I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Well, there's nothing wrong with I actually like ex existentium, like Jose Onfroy said it himself, like religion shouldn't be trusted. Religion shouldn't be followed blindly. If something is real and something is true, you will find it. And he said it by what is real will prosper, right? So like, if it's real, you will find it. You just have to seek. And I think we already seek. So yeah, I mean, in this video, I really, even though I talked like seeming like I know something, or like I'm good and successful or whatever, but I'm not really. Like I haven't really achieved anything in life. Some people say that I did, but in my opinion, I didn't. And as of now, like it's genuinely nothing. Like I don't even have like money to my name. I'm not even financially rich. I'm not even muscular. I'm not even all the things that I should be. But yeah, the only reason I filmed this video is because I'm genuinely excited for this. I'm genuinely pumped and hyped up to learn and read, because the truth is that like suffering has a key to be avoided, and you can get something in life easily. It's not just about suffering, it's genuinely about time. Like, how fast you get there, how fast you evolve. Because like, think about the person that never ever listened to the advice of like punching wood and mining down, ever. And they just spend 5 years just dying and respawning over and over again. Wasn't that a waste of time? Like, just how much faster they would. But dude, in 5 years of playing Minecraft nonstop, you can become so much of a pro that you're like building immense fucking farming machines on top of the nether, like above the bedrock, because you found a glitch and you search on. You can become the best Minecraft player in the world, like the best pro in the world, in 5 years of just playing continuously. If you just like get the keys, you just get the key and you try it in the door. You try it. You don't say this key doesn't work. I don't trust this key. You fucking try it, bro. You put it in the door and you twist it, and then you say it works or it doesn't, right? But yeah, like I think like this is like how evolution works, like I have to find the keys, and this is why I think I'm just going to fucking tank on reading books. I'm just gonna read books. I'm just going to listen to so many people. I'm going to listen to so many fucking opinions. I'm going to read so many fucking books. Because if this is the truth, that it's the keys and stuff, right? And I'll start with the master key, right? So if this is the master key, like the key that genuinely opens all doors for some fucking reason, then like you might be asking, like, then isn't this like enough? Like, I just read this and I don't need any other book ever. Well, you'd be wrong, because like even though the master key is like the most essential and most important, like let's say you want to build a house, right? To build a house, you want to build it out of wood, right? So like wait, I didn't quite get the example right, but oh yeah, okay. To build a house, you first have to breathe. Like, if you don't know how to breathe, you're just gonna die. Like breathing is something natural, so it's a bit of a weird example, but like, okay, another. You have to like eat and drink water first to survive, and then you can build a house. Like if you're in the woods and you're just like, you have nothing, you have to first like learn to like survive, like genuinely eat food and hunt and drink water, right? Because you're not gonna start and thinking about building a house when you don't even have your basic needs met, right? So when you have these basic needs met, then you want to think about building a house, right? So I would say like the master key system is kind of like the basic needs. It's like the most fundamental thing, and without it, you're just fucked. Like without it, it's like you have no water and no food, right? But then after you have it, then you can worry about building the house, right? And to build a house, you need an axe, because you need to chop the wood, right? Then you need some nails to chop it. And all other books act like that. Like, for example, the 4-Hour Workweek. I would compare it with an axe, right? It's not like the master key. Like, if you don't have it, you cannot breathe and you cannot live on, and you cannot eat and you cannot drink water, you cannot survive. No, master key is more like that. But the 4-Hour Workweek is like an axe. It's very useful and very powerful, and you can chop wood with it, right? It's the tool that gets you like money and time, and the balance between money and time, and how that really works, and being effective versus being efficient, right? Yeah, I'm just excited about this subject. One second. And I'm excited about changing my life, but I find it right now like a bit of a paradox, because like for my life to work, and for all my plans to go well, and everything in my life to just go well. Okay, fuck the plans. Even if the plans don't go right, my life can still go well. Because nothing, even if it's like unplanned, it will still be positive, right? But for me to get there, like I find that I'm in a spot where like if I genuinely don't control my mind, I have no choice. I have no way to continue, because my mind is like a monster, bro. Like I've told you, just how mindless I am, just how much it consumes me, and just that I'm more mindless than even the most mindless people ever, right? It's just the way I am. I don't know why I've been brought up like this. I don't know why, but it's just the way I was, right? Because I'm gonna change, right? But for me to like seek, right? Because like I have a lot of things that I'm seeking, right? Wait, just open this. I didn't want to open that, but like I have a lot of things that I'm seeking. Like I'm seeking living in Tokyo. I'm seeking be having a fucking penthouse in Tokyo. I'm seeking um wisdom. I'm seeking learning. I'm seeking learning to fight. I'm seeking becoming strong. I'm seeking power. I'm seeking girls giving me attention. I'm seeking so many things. And all of these things have something in common. I cannot really tell what that is, but it's just what I'm seeking. I seek something, you know? And that seeking, like from what I've understood from this book, and also consulting myself a little bit with, from what I understood from this book, right? I understood in my own way, in my own words, that enlightened people are not like robots that don't feel any emotion anymore. They just sit on like they just sit in a meditation meditation posture like by the Bodhi tree and they don't do anything at all. Like they don't do any because they don't have cravings anymore. They're free of everything. They're free of all the wanting, and because that's what Buddha said, right? Suffering comes from wanting and craving, and if you don't have that anymore, you don't suffer anymore. So like the stop of suffering seems to be like just stopping to fucking function, like because like you need to want to drink water to survive. You have to want to eat food to survive, right? That was my fucking question. Doesn't that mean that you're just gonna sit there and fucking die, right? Because like, and that doesn't really make sense. And now from this book, and also consulting myself with ChatGPT, because ChatGPT apparently knows this book too, and I couldn't really find. I've read the book, but I couldn't really find the answer. But now I kind of remember that he did talk about it. I'm not quite sure, but the idea is that enlightened people are still seeking because enlightened people drink water and eat food. Why would a person that is not seeking anything, that has no craving and no want, why would they choose to live and not to die of starvation? Why would they choose one or the other? Because the other, like, eating food and drinking water takes action to be done and takes wanting to drink that water to do it, right? So if they truly didn't have any want, they wouldn't do that. They would just sit and crate and fucking starve. That's it. And they would starve and die immediately, right? But they also like become spiritual teachers and they also teach people this shit. Why do they do that? Like you have to want to teach people this stuff, to teach it, right? If they were truly not wanting anything, they wouldn't even do that. Those spiritual teachers, right? And Eckhart Tolle, he awakened, right? Why is he teaching us this shit? Like if he didn't want anything, he doesn't want anything. Why is he teaching us? Why did he even write this book? Why does he care? You know? Well, what I found out is that being enlightened doesn't mean not wanting anything anymore. It doesn't mean not seeking anything anymore, right? Because it doesn't even make sense. Like, enlightened people are clearly seeking something. Because he wrote this book. That means he wanted something. That means he was seeking something. But the difference is that enlightened people seek, right? Enlightened people seek and want. And unenlightened people, or unconscious people, people that are not awakened, they're not enlightened, they crave. They don't seek, they don't want. They crave, right? So craving means that it comes from your unconscious mind, and you're kind of like want something biologically, and you're kind of suffering if you don't get it, right? Enlightened people don't suffer if things don't go their way. They just like the water, just like the trees. If you like, if a tree is growing and you rip off one of its branches, it will just keep growing. It will just keep becoming beautiful. It will keep showing its flowers off without any sort of embarrassment. That's what the tree does. Because I've started looking at nature, I was like, holy shit! Like, enlightenment is everywhere around me. Like these trees, they literally have their fucking limbs. Like in the park, there's fucking branches of trees and logs of trees next to the trees. The trees literally have their limbs shattered and slaughtered around them, and they don't. They just keep growing. They just keep. They have no choice. They just keep growing. They don't resist it. They don't resist life throwing suffering and pain and branches being ripped off at them, right? But they just keep going and they show off their flowers without any sort of embarrassment. They show off their branches and how far they go, right? And that's what enlightened people do. Like they don't oppose resistance to life throwing shit at them. You know, they don't oppose resistance to things not going their way. They don't label things as bad or good. They just keep going. They just evolve and they seek in the same way that we seek. You know, and they feel suffering, like not suffering. They feel pain. They feel grief. They feel like, because they're humans. They're not robots, right? The difference is that they're aware of all of it. They're so present that like every negative emotion is negative, but in like a colorful way. Like a colorful way in the sense that like you can be sad and crying, but that would be like kind of in the same time happiness kind of thing, you know? So like there's no, you have to surrender, as it says in the end of the book, you know, surrender to the present moment, surrender to the now, and don't resist it, right? And don't resist it doesn't mean don't do what you need to do. Don't do your fucking masculine duty or whatever. Don't do like just lay in the bed and do nothing about your life. No, it means you accept it and then you change it. You know, because if you don't accept it and try to change it, like in a state of like being like, how do I say it, like if you're angry about your life or you feel like shit, you immediately jump to action. That action is reactive. It's not active. It's reactive. You're reacting to something in an emotional, not an emotional, in like unconscious way, right? And action that comes after acceptance, after accepting something and be present about it, is way more, usually way more intelligent, is way more intuitive, is way more spontaneous, and it's like way more, always way more useful. Like, yeah, and that all comes from your presence. Sam Harris is great. The Medito teachers are also great, but like, I feel like if it weren't for Eckhart Tolle, like the seed, I don't think it would have been planted properly in me. Like, I'm still like, it's a bit of a struggle to stay present for me, right? But I've kind of gotten a feel for it because like one of my biggest obstacle was that I didn't quite know when I was present or not. Like, how do I even tell this? It's not like in the gym when you can count your reps and you can see that you made progress. Being present is more like, how do I even tell that I'm getting this shit right? And guess what I fucking found out a couple days ago? Usually fab urges would be like my biggest obstacle to meditation, because like fab urges would just come and they would just ruin everything, right? And as Eckhart Tolle put it, like the worst things in your life, the most biggest obstacle in your life, turn into the most positive things ever. And this is exactly what happened. Like my masturbation addiction was just severe non-stop. Like, imagine just being addicted. I was so fucking addicted to masturbation, right? And fab urges, and my brain would just basically do this thing that I call arrow search, like where it would just search for erotic shit, and then if with creativity and stuff, it will just try to get the most erotic shit ever. It tries and tries it, tries it, tries it, tries it until it gets the best thing ever, until it gets the right combination, right? So here's what I fucking did with this book. The thing that like fucking that my journey towards presence is that a couple of days ago, I was just lying in bed and I was seeing my fab urges come, right? And I was noticing that whenever I was unconscious, my boner would rise. And whenever I return back to the present moment, it will get flaccid again. So like my dick would be like some fucked up Five Nights at Freddy's type shit. How erected my dick would be, how big it would have gotten, is the degree to which I am unconscious. And if I become present, it goes back down. So it's literally like a fucking, like, it's exactly what I wanted. It's exactly what I needed. A precise measurement of how present and how mindful I am in the moment. And that's my fucking dick. You know, how erect it was. That's how mindless I was. That's how unconscious I was. And just getting, it's literally like in the video game. Because like in horror games and shit like that, you have like a gauge that increases and decreases, right? And the more it increases, the more you are fucked in danger. Like the more the ghost sees you or whatever, right? Or like in Phasmophobia type shit, right? My dick was exactly that. And it felt like exactly as Eckhart Tolle put it. If it's darkness, if it's dark, then the monsters lurk in. But when it's light, they either just stop moving, and eventually they just crack down and disappear, right? So I just kept doing that. I just kept interrupting the vapor, just my presence, and then I turned it into a game. How much can I keep my dick flaccid, right? And I did it, present, and my dick it turned into fun, bro. Like the addiction, the urge to be addicted, and the misery just turned into like something positive. And I fucking like, you know what happened afterwards? Another like thought generating entity. I'm just gonna call them thought generating entities because it's like entities that generate all sorts of thoughts. Like all thoughts come like from a thought machine, right? And that thought machine itself is kind of like an entity in our head. Like it would be kind of close to. So like, and this arrow source, this entity that creates erotic thoughts is an entity on its own. And there's another entity. I don't know what the fuck that was, but it just came and bullied it. It started laughing at him and taunting him for not being able to get me erect and get me horny. And it would just fucking destroy all the erotic images and like imagine just like a class bully, like a nerd trying to draw erotic shit on a paper, right? Some fucking hentai or something. Imagine a bully coming to him and just scribbling all of it and just punching him in the face, right? That's exactly what happened in my head. Like all the erotic images would just get destroyed. Like either like they would just, I don't really want to say it in words, like a girl like just showing off her body would just get turned into like a bunch of grass, and then it would get turned into the earth, and I would just then see the fucking planets, boom, destroyed. Another one would just, she would just fart, and that's it. And just farting made it unappealing and like unerotic and unappealing, right, sexually. Or like another time it just she just started flying out of nowhere. She was about to get like some sex or whatever, and she just started flying in the air, and it just, then a plane appeared and there was planes everywhere, that type of shit, right? Of course, this is not exactly accurate to what happened. I'm just kind of giving you an example of what it looks like for another thought entity to just beat another one out of existence. And the nerd that was drawing the porn for me in my head, you just got like destroyed. But for some reason, it wasn't even reacting. Like the erotic thought generating entity was not like it didn't get angry or like crying, or it just stopped doing whatever it was doing. I don't know. Sometimes like the entities in my head, sometimes they cry, sometimes they scream, sometimes they get angry, but this one for some reason this nerd just got beaten and all his shit got scribbled, and he just kind of stopped. And my head was just full of thoughts about the universe or some shit, some galaxies, scale, some trucks, some cars. I was not seeing erotic shit anymore, and obviously there was no boner. There was no, like, so for the first time ever, like, I feel like I have some form of control, at least a form of fighting my addiction. Because like previously, it's like the addiction just controls me, and there's genuinely nothing I can do about it. Like no matter how much I try to change my life, how much I try to be whatever, I tried this, I try to be that, nothing works like presence. Presence works miracles, because presence made the erotic thought generating entity. I don't know why I should go. I'm just gonna call him the nerd. It just made the nerd generate the hentai, right? And then the presence came. It showed light over him. He was not able to do anything. Just stopped and then disappeared, and then came back again. The presence kept this going, and just as Eckhart Tolle says, the light of presence just weakens everything around. It's just like, and it felt like burning, like a vampire burning in the sun, right? The sun being like the light of my presence, the light of my awareness. And eventually just get fucked up, and then some other thought entity would just come and beat it up and just destroy it. And I'm not exactly friends with that dude, that fucking bully the nerd. I'm not exactly friends with that thought entity that did that. I don't even know who that is. I don't know where the fuck he came from. And I'm not seeing him again, it seems. He's not coming up again, I don't know. But yeah, it's full of weird, like, your mind is a house full of strangers, bro. I swear to God. Okay. Yeah. I kind of want to start like speaking a little bit like Eckhart Tolle. Like I think a person like put it really well. Like Eckhart Tolle like doesn't speak like in a reactive way. He just lets the words come up from within him at their own natural pace. There's no fastening. There's no like hurry. There's no frustration. There's none of that stuff. They just come out of him, the words, gently. There's no hurrying up or nervousness or anything like that. And I think they put it really well. I was like, man, if I can speak like this, man, that would be nice. You know. Let me try it right now. I don't exactly know what to say right now. Maybe this is just my natural speaking speed. Maybe I just speak quickly, because like I don't feel really frustrated to speak like fast or slow right now. I don't feel like nervous or anything. I mean, I am present right now. But yeah. Okay, that was the video, and bye again. I'm just sharing with you something that I'm excited about. Like I'm not actually the type of dude that you should listen to, you know? Like, because like I'm not a successful dude, but maybe I will be. I think I will be. But I'm. Oh yeah, here's one thing that I forgot to say. I was about to say bye, but here's one very important question that I have, not towards you, but just towards like in general. So like, for me to succeed, it would be ideal if I become at least somewhat enlightened, right? Like I would just get to the point where like I control my mind. I'm above my mind and I just control it with the power of my presence, right? I'm just present and I cut through the thoughts that I don't need with presence, and those that I like or want or need, I just let them be. Like I invite them. That's how you can control your mind, right? So for me to become enlightened, quote unquote, I have to let go of my cravings. But the cravings are bringing me to alignment because I want to achieve this in my life. I have to achieve that, achieve this, achieve that. So to achieve what I want, I have to stop wanting to achieve that. Stupid. How am I supposed to do that? Like to achieve what I want in life, I have to stop wanting to achieve it. That's the only way to achieve it. What the fuck, bro? Okay, I think I kind of like. Okay, so I've said it before. Enlightened people seek, they don't crave, right? So it's no problem that I want these things. It's just problem that me wanting them and things going wrong are making me suffer. So if I stop overthinking it and I stop, it's really complicated, because like. Yeah, I don't quite get it yet, but like, okay, so when I am people seek, I create. I find suffering that I don't get what I want. Hmm. I'm not really thinking anything. I'm being present and cutting to thinking. Yeah, so I have to accept it. I have to surrender to. I have to surrender to my state of being, my state of craving, my state of wanting. I have to embrace it and accept it and then take action. Okay. Fair enough. I'll see where this takes me. Like, I was just reading this book, and just to tell you, like, throughout reading it, like, I never felt like I just kept reading it even though it felt hopeless. Like I felt like it's too advanced for me. I felt like it's too much for me. I feel like I cannot enlighten. I cannot get there. That's what I felt. And towards the end, this miracle with the masturbation thing happened. Like this has never ever happened in my life, and I was like, okay. And towards the end of the book, like, yeah, still said this thing about surrender. I mean, at least it will change my approach to life. I'm not exactly like at the point of like having no ego, even though I think in my suicidal phase 1 year ago, I was kind of getting close to that. But because like when you're suicidal, usually like you're suicidal against your ego, not your true self, right? Because then you want to kill you, but that means there's two yous, right? As Eckhart Tolle said it, and as Eckhart Tolle has experienced. Why didn't I quite get there at that time? I don't know. But yeah, I'll just stop overthinking it, and I'll just do what I have to do right now. Okay. Now, really, bye.